her chin a bit too stubborn, like her father's, but added to her finely chiseled cheekbones, these features weren't so noticeable. What was disconcerting, though, was that she had the same uncanny ability as Chandos to hide her emotions when she chose to, completely, so that you had no idea whatsoever what she was thinking or feeling. This wasn't one of those times, but Casey had another of Chandos's traits, strategizing. When one tactic didn't work, she usually resorted to another. Shouting hadn't worked, so she switched to a calmer tone.
But the bar-M needs someone in command.
Sawtooth is doing well enough.
Sawtooth is 67 years old. He was retired and living peacefully on his little spread when Grandpa died. He agreed to take over the reins only until you could find someone else. But you haven't found anyone willing to take on those responsibilities without demanding half the profits, and you refuse to manage the place yourself.
I have enough headaches here. I don't have time to divide myself.
But I do, and I can do it. You know I can. The bar-M is 1/3 mine. I have every right.
You're not even 18 yet, Casey.
What's 18 got to do with anything, I'd like to know? And besides, I will be in a few months.
Which is when you should be thinking about getting married and starting your own family. You can't do that if you're saddled with running the bar-M.
Marriage? The girl snorted. I'm only talking about a couple years, Daddy, just until Tyler finishes college. There isn't anything I don't know about running a ranch. You saw to that. You taught me all I know about ranching, all I know about surviving on the trail.
Biggest mistake I ever made,
Chandos mumbled.
No, it wasn't.
Courtney spoke up finally. You wanted her to be able to handle any situation if we weren't around to handle it for her.
Exactly,
Chandos said.
If we weren't around.
I want to do this, and you haven't given one good reason why I shouldn't.
Then you haven't been listening, little girl, Chandos said, frowning. You're too young. You're a female that the 40-some wranglers on the bar-M are not going to want to take orders from, and you've reached the time in your life when you should be looking for a husband. You won't be finding one with your nose buried in ranch accounts and coming in off the range each day sweat-soaked and filthy.
Casey was red-faced by then, most likely from anger, though it was hard to tell.
Marriage again,
she all but sneered.
There hasn't been a man around these parts in the last 2 years worth my taking notice of. Or do you want me to marry just anyone? If that's the case, I can think of a dozen men who are eligible. I'll go rope me one tomorrow if that's what it'll take to—
Don't be impertinent.
I'm being absolutely serious, Casey insisted. You'd let a husband of mine run the bar-M, wouldn't you? You'd find that perfectly acceptable. Well, I'll have a candidate for you no later than—
You'll do no such thing. You will not marry just to get your hands on those account ledgers.
I've had my hands on those account books for months now, Daddy. Sawtooth is half blind, if you didn't realize it. Trying to tally the ledgers gives him a powerful headache that actually makes him physically ill.
It was Chandos who was red-faced now, and there was no doubt in this case that it was from anger.
Why wasn't I told about this?
Maybe, because every time Sawtooth rides over here to see you, you're out on the range somewhere. And maybe because you won't step foot on the bar-M to find out why he came over in the first place. And maybe because you don't really care about the bar-M. You'd just as soon see it fall to ruin now that Grandpa's gone, just to spite his memory.
Casey!
This from Courtney, in an appalled tone. But Casey had already blanched. She'd gone too far and knew it, and before her father could blast her for doing so, she ran from the room. Courtney started to assure Chandos that Casey had just let her emotions run away with her, that she hadn't really meant what she'd said, but tight-lipped, he marched out of the room right behind Casey, only not to follow her. He headed off toward the back of the house, a more direct route to the stable, while she'd run toward the front, which was entirely too bad. Chandos shouldn't have let the argument end like that, with Casey riddled with guilt now, but still determined to change her father's mind. He should have been more explicit with his reasons. He should have pointed out that he didn't want to see Casey get hurt when she failed, which she was bound to do. The cowboys on the bar-M might accept her for a while because they knew her as Fletcher's granddaughter, but inevitably there would be new men, and those